Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of From the Editor's Desk. I'm your host, Ronnie Harden. It is a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Welcome. This is our first broadcast back after being off for the long holiday weekend. So thanks for being here. Mm. How were your holidays? And yes, I know I'm going to address this right off the bat. 2021 had to end with us losing Betty White on New Year's Eve day. And yet we will always, for me, I know, I will always mark the end of 2021 with the passing of Betty White. And then, of course, yesterday we lost the iconic Sir Sidney Poitier. So far, we're going along, we're plugging along. But guys, if you think about it, this happens all the time. It just so happens that we are in a time period where we are losing people that marked a certain generation. And that gives us a moment to reflect on what's going on now and how we feel about those things, right? So I'm starting a series today. I thought I would start off the year this way because I get asked this question a lot. I find myself repeating the same information to people, but that lets me know that more people are wanting to share their stories. So there are questions about getting started writing a book. I'm working with some people who are in the beginning stages of writing their books, people who are thinking about self-publishing versus traditional publishing, to do I have to write a book at all? And my answer to that is no, not necessarily. You can create a lucrative writing habit, right? A regular, consistent thing that you do with your writing. Maybe it's in a blog you want to build. Maybe it's creating really clever content for social media and learning how to look at the market, engaging where people are. I do that with my posts all the time. I do experiments and then I look back at my analytics to see what are the things that are engaging people the most, right? So this month, I'm going to be talking about in my broadcasts different aspects of getting ready to write a book, things that you need to think about if you're going to be writing a book, or if you've already written a draft and you're kind of at that stage to go, okay, what do I do with this? Do I just upload the file to Amazon and hit send? Not necessarily. That's a whole different thing to navigate, but we'll be talking about one of these weeks. So it's great to see you. I don't know about you, but I put my decorations away this week. It was Epiphany Day, and on Epiphany Day, we get an epiphany that, oh, it's probably time to take the Christmas decorations down. Because I don't know about you, but for me, if I don't get it done then, 3 weeks will go by and we'll be in February and the Christmas decorations will still be up. Now, you might be one of those people who enjoy having your Christmas decorations up for a little longer. Makes you happy, makes you feel good, makes you enjoy your holiday a little longer. I know for us, we traveled right before the holidays. In fact, we landed the afternoon of Christmas Eve day and got home, got it settled, and woke up the next day. Merry Christmas. So, we've been enjoying our decorations through this first week of January, but it is time to take them down. So I did. I took those down. And what I love is that as I'm taking the ornaments off the tree, does it do this for you? I think about those people who either gave me the ornaments or how many years I've had that particular ornament, or maybe some of your ornaments came as gifts from people. I know mine did. I have a collection, because I'm that age now. I'm starting to say to myself, I'm starting to look in the mirror and say, this is 60, almost 60. I'll be 60 on my birthday this year. Got 60. Look at this. How about this for 59, right? Sporting it. Look at this. Guys, if you've been with me long enough, you've watched my hair all grow back, right? All of these things, these special moments that we can capture These are my stories. You probably have stories that happened over the holidays. Heck, you probably have stories that happened just in the last couple of days. I watch some of your stories. If we're connected on social media and we're pals and all, I can get on and see some of your stories, see what takes place in your day. And so capturing those things, doing it in a creative, fun way has become the entertainment for so many people out there, right? So if you're going to give people access to you all the time, like anything you post on social media, you're giving people access into your life. So who are those people? And what do you want to share with them? And what's the purpose of you sharing? Is it just to mindlessly throw crap out there? Because that's what I do. I'm going to sit here and drink a cup of coffee and randomly scatter shoot things out there. Or do you sit down and put together a serious, gathering of your writing, right? Because that's what it starts with, writing. People come to me, how do I get started writing a book? We still call it writing, even though we're not physically handwriting. Or maybe you are the type of person that physically handwrites notes in journals, right? So, one of my business mentors, pals, someone that I can actually say it was 10 years ago this year that I learned of a gentleman named John Acuff, and I started following his blog, actually, is how I started getting into his work. And his writing intrigued me because um, it was smart, it was catchy, and it was funny. Funny always works with me. And he used to have a blog called Stuff Christians Like. He started writing about this, and he would he would sort of laugh at himself and laugh at us, those of us who are the Christian faith, of the things we do and the way we are. And just that kind of writing intrigued me because that was the kind of writing I did back in high school when I had a newspaper column, and it was called Did You Ever Notice? And I would just talk about randomly funny things that would go on every day that people seem to not notice. They just like, how is this not even on your radar? Right. And because I wrote that column in the paper, it didn't start off as a column. It started off as a story I had to write to fill a hole I had on my page that I edited for the newspaper. And I I had to write this story in government class while we were watching a film. I don't remember what the film was about because I had to write this story, but I had to write this story to fill it because we were going to print deadline back in the days when we had to send stuff to a print shop and then have it come back, and we cut and pasted literally the text onto blue line masters that we would then send back to the print shop that they would use to print the school newspaper. Whew. So you have a superpower. The thing is, so do I. We all have it. We can write. And the reason why I know that to be true is because when I follow you, if we are buddies and pals on social media and I follow you, I see you writing all the time. I do. And I love in fact, right now, on this broadcast, the comments that are flying in, "Good morning, everyone. Good to see you." Leanne, Hone. Hone, I was in Ecuador, over the holidays. It was amazing. So good to see everybody here. I love that people are popping in. So I want you to think about all of the memories that you captured over the holidays. I saw some of them. Some of you are amazing creators. Sarah Moses, watching her stories about her 3 boys playing in the snow. Um, if it snowed where you are, people were posting pictures and showing pictures of people sledding and playing in the snow. Then we saw pictures and stories of people stranded in the snow, right? I-95 through Virginia shut down. People were stranded on that freeway for 24 hours. Imagine being stranded in your car in a snowstorm. And so the stories are just now coming out of people who were gathering, sharing food, sharing fuel, blankets, whatever they had, water, right? Those amazing stories that we read every day. So there's all kinds of formats of stories. And so if you are interested in writing a book, or let's say writing a story, you want to start capturing these things that are happening to you. And be careful, guys. You want to make sure, I hope you do a Facebook data download backup, because think of the years of posting you've done on your social media accounts. And yet those accounts don't really belong to you, even though the content does. So I highly suggest that you do a social media account data download backup. Each of the platforms have ways for you to do that. Make sure you've got the space to do it or the cloud storage to do it. But you want to make sure that you save that content, because if those platforms go down or you lose access to your pages or profiles for whatever reason, think of the years of content that you've been sharing, pictures, things that you want to save that might be lost. I've seen two people recently in my circles who, oops, all my 2021 content disappeared. Like, somebody hacked into their page, said they were them, they got it straightened out with Facebook, but everything that they had posted on their page in 2021 disappeared. Disappeared. Gone. Like, Facebook can't even, retract it and find it. And we all know what a cluster that has become lately. So if we're going to use these social media platforms, use them wisely, but remember, build yourself a space, right? We're going to be talking about that also. Where is your space on the internet? Where is your work created and highlighted? So let's talk about some fun things that happened this week. Did you know that as of January 1st, 2022, new works went into the public domain? And when I say works, I mean books, music, sound recordings, films, stage plays, any kind of creative works. They go into the copyright laws that protect them for a period of time. And in the United States, it's 70 years. So we are now able to access things that were created and written by people who they passed away in 1951. It doesn't necessarily mean that they lived to the end of their life, but if they died in 1951, and that's hard to believe that that's 70 years ago, right? Just think about that for a moment. So in 1951, so people who were composers, writers, photographers, painters, script writers, film creator, any songwriters, all of those things have now come into public domain. And the biggest one that came into public domain is Winnie the Pooh, A.A. Milne's original Winnie the Pooh. So the story, the artwork, right? Now, Disney's version of Winnie the Pooh is still protected under Disney copyright laws. So, creators have to be careful. But if you wanted to use some of their work in something that you were publishing, right? If you wanted to reference that in a blog, you still want to give credit to their work, but you're not going to get dinged for copyright infringement. Okay. So this is a way that protects creators' content so that someone cannot make money off of you. Maybe you've got a brand or a company and you're trying to protect your work. Maybe you're an artist, a writer, an author, and you're wanting to put a book out there. These are all protected under copyright laws. So if you were writing and you've been doing that lately, you have what is called a writing habit. I know you probably call it posting, you know, you probably call it, screenshotting. Yes, I understand all of that. But do you have a centralized place where you are gathering your content? Hopefully, maybe you've done something like published a book, right? Maybe you have an established blog. Those are two great ways. In fact, starting with a blog, starting with as Melissa said, a self-hosted site. Maybe you get a WordPress site or get a Wix site or just start with Blogspot or something. There's so many places out there. But the key to it all is developing a writing habit. And that's what I want to talk to you about for a few minutes. A daily writing habit. I mentioned John Acuff just a minute ago, and John offered recently a course. It is not open to the public right now, so I want to encourage you that if you see, first of all, follow John Acuff on social media. It's at John without an H, Jon Acuff. So you can find him on social media, or if you just Google search John Acuff, you'll find his website where you can go and get all of his work directly from him, but then find out where he is on social media. And John did a course called the Full Potential Course, where we tapped into the reason why some of us are bogged down with not really reaching our full potential in certain areas. And so he gave us some exercises to do that were really simple. He said, "Look, here's a list. Pick 3 of them that you want to do well." Some of them guys were like, "I want to drink at least 64 ounces of water a day." That's a gallon of water a day. Some of them were, "I want to brush and floss my teeth 3 times a week. I want to walk or run a mile, at least 1 mile every day. I want to," it's just simple things. And the writing one was write 100 words a day. 100 words. 100 words. I bet if you were to go back and look at your social media posts, you probably posted a total of 100 words, unless you are a meme sender, and that's a whole different category of creating. But if you're posting, if you're like writing out stuff, or if you're tweeting 100 words, it's really not as hard as it sounds. That's 10 sentences of 10 words. You say more sentences in a day than you would write it down. So we picked 3 actions and we had to track them. And there were accountability threads in his group where we had to post every day that we completed the work. And not only did we do that for 30 days, we did it for 90 days. So we took October, November, and December, and we did that. So it was really encouraging to see the people who were signing up for things. Some of them were, "I want to read 10 pages in a book every day. I want to," so there was a whole list, and all you had to do was pick 3. And then you joined those accountability threads, and it was great to see the support of other people who were doing it. What I found in the writing thread is usually by the past the first week, people were writing more than 100 words per day. It just, because if you were to think, and now we have text to speech or speech to text. If I were to transcribe this, the notes from this show, imagine how many words it would be, right? We are we are literally passing more than 100 words in this very broadcast. So I did it. I signed up, and because I'm that girl, I don't know if you can see this, but I got holographic stickers. They're like sparkly, and on when I see them, they're like really, really sparkly, right? And we listed, here's October, November, December. And the one area where I didn't work on, because this was, for me, the things that I picked were 15 minutes working on my platform. That's anything social media, that's posting, that's encouraging people, talking about writing. And so I've strategically put together a plan for January and February on how I'm going to be using my social media platforms and getting the message out. Because I literally had someone asked me over the holidays, "So what is it you do exactly?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute. I'm on here all the time talking about what I do." I'm an editor. I'm a freelance editor and a writing coach. I help people write their stories, get their stories, shaped up and polished and crafted so we can either get them to an agent or get them to a publisher or pitch them to someone that they want us to get that baby nice and clean, make it their best work possible, right? So that's what I do. Couldn't believe that there are people out there who still don't know what I do for a living. Right. So 90 days. So I was not able to work on my platform for these days because this is when we took our trip and we were in the Galapagos Islands, and you're out in the middle of nowhere in the water where there's not even humans on these teeny tiny islands. So we had no phone signal and no internet for 6 days, 5 days, 6 days. No phone signal. I mean, if someone needed to contact us, we had a sat phone on the boat, and we did have a way to call out if we needed to, but no distraction. So I couldn't work on my platform for those days. But I didn't beat myself up about it because I knew why I couldn't do this because I didn't have internet. I had no phone signal. I couldn't even do it on my phone if I wanted to. I was just using my phone as a camera because couldn't do it, but I did the rest of the things. I did the rest of the things. I wrote, and I have close to 35,000 words of content, and they're not even like a story. They're just each day I wrote about something, whether it was a story that went on in the news or what I was feeling or what was going on. But what's cool is when I look back from October to December and I could see where my moods were swinging. Whew. Well, that's a rough week right there. Look at there. Look at those posts. And then you can tell I've got lots of caffeine here because I'm all excited and look at me. But I have a record of 90 days. I have a record of 90 days of how I spent the end of 2021. And of course, on December 31st, we grieved the loss of Betty White. What a way to end a year, right? So, speaking of Betty White, Betty wrote a book. Betty wrote a book. And it's called If You Ask Me, and of course you won't. And first of all, I love Betty White because I think if you follow me on social media, you saw that I posted the other day that she reminded me a lot of my grandmother, but even the way she did her hair. But my grandmother was funny like that. And so this is a book that Betty wrote back in 2011, right? About her life. And so, yeah, I mean, she talks about the 70 years in show business. I mean, think about that, a 7-decade career. But I got to a chapter because I wanted to share this. She talked about writer's block. Writer's block. How could a successful Hollywood star, icon, someone who's reading scripts and doing things all the time, how could she have writer's block, right? She has so many stories to tell us. But she said, certain common cliches maintain that most men love hardware stores just as a woman dote on shoe stores. I have no idea how accurate that is because personally, I am strange for stationery stores. Not for the fancy writing paper, it's those tablets and packs of lined 3-hole notebook pages and those packs of typing paper that turn me on. I even buy these things when I go to the grocery store, whether I need them or not. Let's say I'm in the middle of a writing project and I have perhaps hit a slow spot. Bringing in this stuff can recharge the battery. Or if I'm not in the middle of a writing project, it can often cause me to start one. Why? I have no idea, but it has been that way all my life, even back to my school days. A fresh pack of paper was the best incentive in the world for me to tackle my homework. She talks about, I can remember once being told by an author who was rather well known at the time that on the rare occasions when he hit a stubborn writer's block, there was only one specific brand of green lined paper that could get him started again. He called it his paper laxative. As soon as he'd bring in a pack, the ideas would start again. John Steinbeck, the author John Steinbeck, she said, who was Alan's and my good friend. Imagine. She was friends with the author John Steinbeck. She said John Steinbeck did his writing standing up at a drafting table in longhand, his white bull terrier Angel lying across his feet. People always seem amazed that I write in longhand. Well, if it's good enough for Steinbeck, it's good enough for me. I really can't communicate to a machine the thoughts want to go from my brain, down my arm, to my hand, to the page. And after I've written that first draft, I copy it over again onto another page. That's when the most changes are made, as I polish and rewrite the original once again in longhand. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. And then I want you to look at this picture because this is in Betty's book. And it's Betty's handwriting. Look at how beautiful her handwriting is. Can you see that? Let me make sure the camera gets that. There you go. Look at that handwriting. And so she's of the generation who wrote things out in longhand, but you notice she said, after I've written that first draft, I copy it over again onto another page. That's when the most changes are made, as I polish and rewrite the original. You're going to create snippets of ideas and drafts and things as you are writing your book. And it's when you go through the process of editing, refining it, looking at it again, reading through it, seeing places where it could be tightened up here or better language can be used here. And you polish that work and you do this over and over till you get it to its best possible state. And then you send it out there. You send it to your blog, you send it to an agent, you send it to a publishing house, you send it to a beta readers group to see what they think about it, right? But you get that writing out there. And it comes with starting a daily writing habit. So again, Betty White even talks about writer's block in her book, If You Ask Me. And so Betty, of course, passed away in 2021. So 70 years from now, this book will be in the public domain. Kind of gives you an idea of how those things work. Now, if you want your littles to learn about Betty White, there is a little book, and it's called The Little Golden Book About Betty White. And you can actually teach your kiddos who Betty was. And it's told in this story form with beautiful pictures, right? Illustrations. So this is a way that we get writing out there. Maybe you're interested in writing a children's book. Imagine the copy. I mean, if I were to look at this, 8, 10, there's probably maybe 40, 45 words on this page, right? Just to give you an idea. So 100 words. Imagine writing 100 words every day. So until John opens his full potential course again, and you can take it, and I highly recommend that you take it, especially if you want to build consistency and in building habits that are productive. And so if you're interested in creating a daily writing habit, guys, it's not going to happen till you sit down and do it every day. And I challenge you, make yourself a little grid. Like this was my checklist from the course. We had to check off boxes and we had to report in an accountability thread. When you have that kind of accountability, it forces you to do it every day. So make yourself a little chart, or there's apps, habit tracking apps that you can use. I use one on my phone. Where is my phone? Oh, here we go. I use one on my phone called Streaks. And it helps you track. You've done your activities. It'll notify you, hey, have you done your 15 minutes, or have you done your 100 words, or have you walked or run your mile? So create one for yourself today. Start today and create one that is 100 words. Maybe you have a podcast or you do a broadcast. Do you do show notes afterwards? Create show notes for your broadcasts. That's writing as well. Anything that gets your stories out there, gets you connected to your audience out there, especially if you're wanting to write a book. So however you get those words out there, and like I said, for Betty, she likes to use longhand. If that's the way you need to process, and it's a tactile way for you to get those things out to help your memory, it's important. So how do you get started with the daily writing habit? Maybe you've already written a book and you need some creative spark to write another one. Maybe you have a different story to tell. Maybe you've done a business book or some kind of how-to book and you want to just tell a fun story, maybe about your pet, or a funny story in your life, or a collection of stories of someone that you know that you want to write down their stories, anything like that. But if you're kind of dry on ideas for writing, there's all kinds of books out there with writing prompts. I happen to have one, and it's called The Writer's Book of Matches, 1,001 Prompts to Ignite Your Fiction. Now, these are if you want to write fiction stories, right? But let me tell you, even if you're category or your story is nonfiction, say you're writing a self-help book or a business book or a biography or a memoir or something like that, writing fictional blurbs just for exercise are great for the brain. They're great for stimulating your imagination and your creativity. So, this book, I love this book. So let me just share a couple of writing prompts and let me tell you, if I were to give this to you in class, because I used these on my students all the time. And what we would do is this would be like a pop quiz, right? So I would tell them, and they could either sit at their laptop or do it by hand, but we would do a quiz and I would give them a writing prompt and they had 5 minutes to write. Go, 5 minutes. And they would write. And then we would share our stories, our little blurbs, just to get that creative muscle flowing, right? So if you want to create a daily writing habit, find a book like this, right, with prompts and pick one each day, right? Pick something. So here's um I'm just going to read these to you and I want you to and I'm going to go quiet cuz I want you to think of the next line in the story. Okay. So I'm going to read a prompt and I want you to type the next line. If you want to do this in the comments, you can do that because then I'll go back through after the broadcast and read these. I would love to see your input. Okay. Um, okay. Here's one. Now some of these are actual lines for dialogue or they are um, just ideas. So get ready. Are you ready? We're going to do this. All right, here we go. Two children get lost during a zoo field trip and find themselves trapped in an animal habitat. Two children get lost during a zoo field trip and find themselves trapped in an animal habitat. And I'll give you 30 seconds. I'm going to see how long 30 seconds is. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to type in the comments. All right. 30 seconds. And I'm going to show you just how long 30 seconds is. We say 30 seconds and you think, oh my gosh, that's so long. Not really. Okay. So 30 seconds. I'll read that prompt again. What page was it on? I gotta find it. Oh, two children get lost during a zoo field trip and find themselves trapped in an animal habitat. Go. See, 30 seconds is actually longer than you think. Okay, and done. That was 30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds. And so when you have and look at some of the comments that are coming. Harry says to Tom, I told you this was a bad idea. I love that, Stephanie. See, that's dialogue. Leanne, they were scared when they saw what animals were watching them. The animals encircled them, but not to attack, but to protect them. Within this circle, the children remain calm. They climb on top of a tree to get a better view and see that there are two lions not too far away. I love this. See, look at the creativity already flowing from just an exercise that you did in 30 seconds. 30 seconds, right? And see, and you can even think of then the next line and then what's the next line. All right. So let's try that again. I love that. You guys are doing great. Here we go. Okay, here's a good one. All right, we're going to do this again. Okay, you ready? All right, 30 seconds on the clock. I'm here to answer the ad in the paper. Go. I'm here to answer the ad in the paper. coming up with ideas and thoughts. I'm here to answer this ad in the paper. It could be seen as dialogue. Yes, I'm here to answer the ad in the paper. Whoo! 30 seconds, right? So, yes, well, thank you. I'm so glad that you've decided to answer the well, our requirements state that you must be 6 feet tall. Are you 6 feet tall? I need more details regarding your ad. Yes, I love that. When it says travel included, what kind of travel do you mean? That was a tough one for you. Okay. And see, that's okay. That's okay, Leanne, because again, it's the difference between a line of dialogue and an idea, right? So here's let's try another one. Let's see. I'm not experienced at being a clown, but I can try. Stephanie, I love that. Uh, I heard you were looking for someone to clean your house. Walks into a gray dust cloud and sees mountains of hoarded trash. That's great, Savannah. That was awesome. See, so these are the ways that you encourage your creativity, ways to spark those ideas so that you can create a daily writing habit. So, a daily writing habit is important. So, again, the writer's book of matches, 1001 prompts to ignite your fiction. If you were to just look up writing prompts, even online, you could probably find courses or free sites that will offer you writing prompts. Be careful what you download. I love to get actual books. So you could either order them online through your favorite independent bookstore, go to your favorite bookstore and look in the writing section and find some books on writing prompts. Lord knows that social media and things going on around us help us every day with great story ideas, right? So, writing habits, creating a writing habit, you're already doing it. I'm telling you, if you were to realize every day how much you post or tweet or text to other people, you're writing every day. It's not that you can't do it or that you don't have the ability, it's making the time for it. Making time. So start with 100 words. I found that writing 100 words took less than 30 minutes when I sat down and get rid of all your distractions. Because listen, there's never going to be the perfect moment to sit down and start writing. You need to just start writing. Just keep it in one place where you can put a form on it and collect it, especially if it's under a certain idea or theme. Maybe you're in fitness or finance or gardening. I don't know. Maybe you're homeschooling your kids. Maybe you're helping students get into college. Whatever it is, collect all those things. Put them in a centralized place where you have access to them, and then maybe think about ways of sharing them with others. Email newsletters, blog posts, a published book. You never know. You just never know. You could be like Betty and have a great book. You could be like Kirsten Powers. And this is our book that we're doing for book club. So I'm going to go ahead and plug my book club. We're starting with this book for January. It's called Saving Grace, Speak Your Truth, Stay Centered, and Learn to Coexist with People Who Drive You Nuts. No, I did not come up with the idea to write this book. Kirsten Powers did. But it's a really insightful look in and thinking about the word grace, what we mean by the word grace, those of us who are trying to live lives of grace, and why grace is so important, especially now in dealing with people and learning about their lives and their stories. So if you want to sign up for the book club, if you would like to contact me and get some help with writing your story, if you just want to get some writing help, just as a writing coach, I do that as well. I've helped several authors who were trying to get their books finished and put together, and just getting with them regularly to give them a task list to work on, to give them a goal, to reach, right? We're all about goals and planning and putting our calendars up. I've got my new calendar up. How many of you get into the whole planners, stickers? You get all excited. And then 3 weeks from now, we're like, where's my calendar? where did I put my journal? Did I remember to put my sticker for today? So simplify it. Simplify it. Whatever system works for you, right? Whatever system works for you, create a daily habit. I highly recommend you make a little tracker like this or find something where you can track your progress every day. If you need accountability and you would like to be accountable with me and let me help you sort of do that, you can join my VIP group. We're going to be talking about that in the group starting next week. So if you would like to do that, right here's where you do that. RoneHarden.com/contact. Shoot me a note there. You can click, there's some boxes there for you to select if you need specific help on certain aspects of writing. Maybe you're in the process of writing a book. You want to kind of take those steps to get those things started. You just want to find out some information. You'll definitely want to tune into the broadcasts this month because I'm going to be talking about things like developing an audience and creating that, different literary genres. Where does your book fit? Where is it going to fit on the bookshelves and on Amazon's category list? How do you get the word out there about your book? And what is it exactly that you do? I'm an editor, and editors are your friends. They help you create the best work you possibly can. So I'll be talking about that all this month. I hope you will tune in on our successive Saturdays to learn more about that. So start that writing habit. Get that writing habit going. Sit down today and just look for ideas of things that are going on. Go to the mall and people watch. Try to be careful of what you get on social media, but are there interesting stories? Look at some interesting stories that you're interested in and then think of a story you could write kind of like that without being that person's story, because that's a whole different ballgame, right? Copyright infringement. But let me know how I can help you because that's what I love to do. And remember, I've always got time to sit down and have coffee with you. So thanks for having coffee with me. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Have a fantastic week. Get to writing, okay? And I'll talk to you soon.